Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo and I'm always excited to be on Channel's Book Club. Now look at the book I just stumbled upon. Well, not stumbled upon. I was given a copy of this book by the author. And the author is the one and only former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo. My Dear God, that's the title. 52 heartfelt letters of love, hope, and gratitude. Make no mistake about it, this book is very spiritual. So Olusegun Obasanjo writes 52 letters to God, one letter per week. So here, as you read this book, every letter starts with, my dear God. Did I get that right? Yes. My dear God. So every letter starts with my dear God. And then he pours out his heart into matters of spirituality, of life, of living, and even death at times. So it's quite insightful, quite thought-provoking. Now, apart from the letters, you will find poems written after each letter. By who? Professor Mark Nwagu. Professor Mark Nwagu is, of all things, a retired professor of molecular biology, a very distinguished retired professor of molecular biology. Now imagine a professor of molecular biology writing, writing novels and poetry. Very deep poems. Time doesn't permit me. I would have read one or two that really touched my heart as I read this. But if you grab a copy of this, you'll get a better idea, a better insight into what this book is all about. But today is not about my dear God. Today is about Powered by Poverty by Lawson, Omokhodion, a story of adversity, ambition, diligence, and triumph. An absolute must-read book. This gentleman has seen it all in finance, in journalism, and serving the public. He packs in a lot of those experiences to show us what it takes and how to escape poverty and overcome the many challenges life throws at us every single day. Well, I'll allow him to talk more about the book and you get to know him more. Enjoy this.
Lawson Omokhodion, an author, is a retired financial journalist and banker. He is an alumnus of the University of Lagos, Nigeria, Arizona State University, Tempe, US, University of New England, Armidale, Australia, and Templeton College, Oxford, in the United Kingdom. Omokhodion was the business editor of the defunct Newswatch magazine and executive editor of Business and Economy of This Week magazine, as This Day newspaper was once called. He was the executive director of defunct All States Trust Bank before becoming the managing director of Liberty Bank PLC, also defunct. Omokhodion is a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria, a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Institute of Management. He joins Channel's Book Club to discuss his book, Powered by Poverty.
Chief Lawson Omokhodion. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
You know, I'm trying to be very good at pronouncing. You know, Nigeria is a very diverse country. I love the diversity of Nigeria.
It's plenty.
Yeah. So when I'm in public, the first thing I say is, forgive me before I commit the sin.
Yes.
And I'm pronouncing names. Chief, nice to have you on Channel's Book Club.
Thank you, Tunde.
Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Great. You've lived a very accomplished life. Well done to you. And then to have put that story into this book for us to read, that's a gift you've given us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
But what was it like writing? I know writing can be I've met people who have done great things in their lives, and I say, what was it like writing that book? And they go, that one is it's a different level altogether.
Exactly.
What was that like for you?
It was torturous.
You had to dig into the past.
It took me nothing less than 12 years to write this book.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I started soon after my father died and the funeral ceremonies were concluded. That's 2009. I wanted it published on my 60th birthday, 2012, but I just couldn't go far.
So your 60th birthday, when I saw that in your book, yes. I said, let me hit the track because I can't believe you are 71. 70. You are 70 now.
Yes, became 70 last month.
You
July
look,
50.
I almost look older than you.
No, not exactly.
Oh my! Okay. Yeah, I mean, you look good. So that was when you decided. That was when you started the process.
Yes, yes, that's when I did, and it took me quite a bit. And the longer I stayed in writing it, the more the scope expanded. However, the central theme remained the same. It did not change. And so when I then concluded it, sometime last year, I danced. I was so happy. I said, God, I thank you for keeping me alive to accomplish this. I've seen this as this is an accomplishment for me. And I'm very, very grateful to God.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. Why did you, I mean, it's a question somebody will say has an obvious answer, but I'm curious to hear from. Why did you want to write this?
Yeah, my experience, like I tell many of my friends, my experience has been very personal. And the consequences have been public. And because I grew up with a broad spectrum of friends, classmates, schoolmates, churchmates, playmates, neighbors, some of them stand out. One that stood out clearly with respect to this book is a professor, my very close friend, Professor Dominic Osara. We met in 1967 at Immaculate Conception College, and we became friends from that very point. He saw all the awards that occurred in my life. When we started earning some money and looking better and having more than one pair of trousers, he told me, Omolo, you have to write a book. I said, why? He said, what you have done is what needs to be told in a book because people can learn from it. That's what I did has been very unusual. I may not know because I have been in the center of it. But he, as a friend of mine and a classmate, and others have watched, and I have watched with both admiration and trepidation. And that, please, I must write a book. So I said, okay. And when I now took ill in 1997, that kept ringing in my brain that there is an assignment I had not completed. And if I had died at that point, I would have felt so sorry wherever I would be, whether in heaven or in hell. I would have been very, very sad that I couldn't do this.
Wow.
So, but God spared my life. It was touch and go. It was not a joke. It was just touch and go.
Wow.
But God spared my life. So when I finished and the opportunity came, I said, no, this book must come out. I started. It still took some time, but I did it. I thank God.
Powered by poverty. You know, I always find myself many times, you know, people ask me about titles. They want to get a title for their books. And, oh, is this title good? Is that title good? Can you help me come up with a title for this? So book titles, I always think about them quite a lot. Now, when I saw your book title, Powered by Poverty, I said, wow. Powered by poverty. How do you get powered by poverty? Then as I began to read the first few pages of your book, you did rise from poverty. I mean, in so many ways, because, and you know, the grass to grace story, is a common story. It's so common now that people have almost lost the value when you say grass to grace. I mean, that expression is so commonly used that people have lost the meaning of somebody rising from grass to grace. So let's talk a bit about this title. Why did you pick this title?
You can be sure that before this title emerged, many had been discarded. Yes. Actually, I'm more of a journalist than anything. You see, I had written, authored articles, news reports, and others. So, reaching the reservoir of my journalistic experience was useful in generating the topics for this book, and then the title, the overall title. I'm a product of poverty. I didn't need anybody to define poverty for me as a child. I saw it, and then waded through it. And Dad was not a rich man, was a security man.
Amongst other things.
Amongst others, he was at Amel's Transport Limited in Benin. That was the most popular, or in fact, the most well-known
transport
company in Nigeria then. Amel's Transport, they went everywhere.
And he was a security man.
He was a security man, not a driver. He was a security man. But before then, he was in NTC, Ibadan, where it was a friend of his tricked him and he lost his job, and he had to move back to the village in Ujima, Ekpoma. And it was from there, he said, the third child came, and he said, oh my God, how am I going to feed these mouths? He went to Benin and he got employed as a security man.
You eventually had 7, right?
Yes, 7 children.
You were 7?
Yes,
okay.
7 of us. But there was one that died very early, within 2 weeks. The little girl died. Then my mother could use the machine very well, sewing machine. They called her a seamstress, but she was a tailor. Initially a tailor in the market in Ibadan, a Molite market in Ibadan. When she now left for the village, she did some tailoring, but that was not going to bring much. So she went into food business. And when she came to Benin, her food business expanded. She got a small place under a tree, opposite Amel's, and there Amel's Transport Limited.
Your father
was working.
Was a security man.
Yes. A very big company it was then. My mother sold everything.
Everything, you said.
Bole, granuts, beans, rice, yam.
And she got you to put some of those products on the tray.
No, that was...
to go and sell, right?
Yeah.
Which you did not do successfully.
No, we failed. My sister and I failed. But what we sold was actually cola nuts, banana, and oranges. That's what she put on her head to go to the market after school. But the boys playing football, to me, were more attractive. So I take the tray, I will carry it very obediently and religiously from her side. I will move away and then go to where the boys were playing football.
With the tray.
We put the tray aside, and by the time you came,
the cola nut has been there, the banana has been
gone. Everything was gone. I don't know how I explained it, but it was explained away, and then I survived it.
There's so much to talk about in your book, but I would like you to perhaps pick 2 or 3 parts of your book. Let's use them to tease viewers, okay. to get them to have a peep into what you have in your book. 2 or 3 parts, maybe particularly the parts related to public, that have public significance, and talk a bit about them. Perhaps read a bit from those sections about them.
Okay. Let me take you to page 147.
147. 147. What do we have there?
Just this page, the last paragraph.
Oh.
It gives you an indication of how Nigeria has derailed as a country. I said up till 1985, Nigeria had perfected the concept of 5 yearly national development plans. The planning framework was the basis of the country's development, beginning from 1962, when the first national development plan was launched. The first national development plan lasted from 62 to 68, but because of the Civil War, it was extended to 1970. The second national plan, 71 to 75. The third, 76 to 80. The fourth, 81 to 82. When it was time,
81 to 85.
To 85. When it was time to launch the next development plan, the fifth, which was to begin from 1986 to December 1990, President Babangida killed it. He said there was no need for a development plan anymore, and that we're going to go with the World Bank decreed short-term rolling plans. Development stopped in Nigeria.
Wow.
And in most African countries, in most countries of the world, what has led them to the stage they are in has been the periodic development plans that focus their attention, focus resources, and focus efforts towards development. That has been a problem. And still, nobody is going back to it. I do not understand.
So till now,
nobody has been able to go back to the concept of a development planning system, because the World Bank sees it as the interruption of the public sector in a private sector planning model. But that is not it. That's not what we need. We need the direction of a responsible public sector that is government in participation with the private sector to help us develop such plans which will focus every succeeding government in their implementation. But we are not able to do that. We have not been able to even leave the burden SAP imposed on us. You see, SAP imposed the burden in 1986.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a 3-year structural adjustment program. From 1986 to now, you can imagine it's about 36 years. It is in those 36 years, you can find out that we have not been able to sit down to review SAP, even as a country. And consequently, we have devalued our currency, you see, successively from that period up till now. And we are still devaluing.
We have been sapped.
Totally sapped.
So this part of your book, you deal a lot with, I mean, it's very juicy stories here. I mean, so is there another part you want to...
Let me take you to page 160, 262.
Yes. By the way, that page is where you had this, was it lunch or dinner with Otumba Shubom Balogun?
Oh, yes. If you go to page 262.
262. Okay, let's go.
Page 262 I think actually tells you,
okay,
I think the most sober period of my life. I took ill. You see, look at the second paragraph.
Second paragraph.
I wrote here, meanwhile, I was here to bring this terrible news to my wife. She knew of my meeting with Dr. Sebanjo and was eager to hear it all. After dinner, I showed her the report from the doctor and told her I had lymphoma, the big C. C is cancer. She froze on hearing what I said. We cried and knelt down to pray. It was no comfort for her when I added that this doctor said it was treatable if it had not spread too widely. I was 45 years of age. My youngest child was less than 2 years of age, and my eldest was 14 years old. My wife was only 37 years old, fearful of early widowhood. The children were too young to know what we're going through. When it was bedtime, we brought them to sleep in our room. I could not sleep. Deep in the night, I went to hug the children, one after the other as they slept. I prayed for God to save my life. I could not bear the thought of having fatherless children and such a young widow. The children slept in our room thereafter all the nights preceding my trip to London. You see, you do not pray to be challenged with an illness that makes you see the end of your life. I saw the end of my life. Each time I woke up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to look at my children lying on the floor in my bedroom with my wife. As I kissed each of them, tears would be rolling out of my eyes. And as I looked at my wife, a widow that was so imminent to be, I just said, well, God, if you can help me, Lord, I will be a grateful son of yours. I just left my life in the hands of God. But my employers, All States Trust Bank, I was executive director there. The King Banigo, now it's not a king, was Chief Banigo then, who was our chairman, Ibitimi Banigo, mobilized the resources of All States Trust Bank, just took me from Nigeria and flew me to London. In the UK, I went to 11 hospitals. 11 hospitals. Massive intervention to be able to achieve the cure that I eventually got. By end of July 1998, I was told my cancer was in remission. The cancer, what people must know is that early detection of cancer is critical for its treatment. I wasted time. The cancer has 8 stages. 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, stage 3A, stage 3B, then stage 4A, stage 4B. Once it gets into stage 4A, it is almost settling your bone marrow. But if it's not there, you are lucky. At stage 4B, there's nothing on earth that can cure you. It's already in your bone marrow. Tunde, when the hospital had their tests on me in the UK, and they aged the cancer in me, it was stage 3B.
Oh.
I was almost gone. And at that point, the hematologist said, let's see what will happen. And then move over to an oncologist. And then started. Again, even at that point, the first diagnosis was that I had the Hodgkin's lymphoma. There are 2 types of lymphoma. Hodgkin's lymphoma, which was a milder form of lymphoma. They thought that was what I had. After the second test, they said I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, the virulent type of lymphoma. And that they would try, but only God can heal me. So they tried. And today God healed me.
And look at where you are now.
God healed me.
30 years after. Yes. How many years after?
97.
Almost
30 years. Yes, 25 years now.
25 years.
Yes, 25 years.
Wow. Chief, time is never a friend on this show. We could go on and on. Thank you very much for joining us on Channels Book Club. Thank you for sharing this story with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm sure somebody out there is eager to read the rest because there's so much more. You just shared a few of so many things, so many experiences in here. Thank you for joining us on
Thank
Channels.
you, Tunde.
Thank you.
I'm very privileged. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. There's so much more packed in Powered by Poverty. Get yourself a copy and dig in. You'll really, really be glad you did. Well, this is where we have to end the show today. Time is never our friend here, but we'll look forward to getting your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. Send us a comment, an inquiry. If you like what we do, tell it to us. We are always happy to hear such things. It encourages us. If it's a criticism, send it to us. We'll use it to improve the quality of this show, which is what we really, really want to do. Well, my name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.